How do you come up with the idea of the collaboration? Tell me about the collaboration aspect of working together, and how did you decide who did what in the story?
Can I start on that
Yeah.
one?
Go
I,
for it.
s- I see,
Start
I
with
see,
that one.
I see his brain spinning in the shadows
Yeah.
over there.
Sparks.
I saw steam.
Yeah. The headphones kept it in.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw cartoon lines coming out of his ears, so I knew it was time to talk.
Yeah.
Um, well, one of the things for me anyway is I've done collaborative work for a long time, and my God, I could TMZ the hell out of this, but I won't. But it gets really interesting because I I did one project with the narratives, the one with earthquakes, where I was on a panel. I won't go into her because that's a whole story. And anyway, this is going to be archived, so I shouldn't go into gossip. But so first I did the GPS stuff, and then I did a project where it was, hey, my idea was, hey, what about if you go through a minor earthquake, like say the two of you are sitting there right now in that room, and you have a minor earthquake, but one of you was afraid of the dark, it's going to feel like it's a magnitude maybe 2.0 higher because it's triggering into your trauma and your memory. And then I thought about it, and I was like, I was going to be a scientist till I hit math. Sorry, Grandma. My grandparents never quite understood that till they realized they could Google me and I did something. But long story, yeah, true story. So it's like if you think about, I want to be a meteorologist before math, but I love geology and everything else, and scientific fascinates me. So liquefaction is that if you get to the soil, like the San Francisco quake in the early '90s, the energy wave was dissipating, but when it hit the soil that had a very thin consistency, it acted like water and actually remagnified it. And if you have an earthquake that's dissipating and you're in a foothill area, by the way, if you live in foothills, just to freak you out and ruin your day, that it remagnifies like a tuning fork. And I thought that was fascinating. I thought, so that's the same thing as being afraid of the dark, right? So, and you're probably going, where the hell is he going with this? Hold on, my brain thinks in circles, big giant Ferris wheels. I don't know how to explain it, so off we go. But um, so so that was a combination, and then I was on a panel, and then we worked on this project, and one of my old friends, we did the coding. And so what ended up being, because we only had a really short term to, it's the one that's in the museum in New York, the fancy Whitney or whatever, but we only had a couple months for our initial show. So I had this long version that was going to have artificial intelligence, and I had characters I created, and it was going to be the topography of California, and the characters would react based on the earthquake data and their personality, and we're going to have this 3D imaging of the geography. And then it was like, yeah, you got 2 months to finish it. We're like, oh, okay, so that's not going to happen. So instead, it's a text and image and music thing, but it actually, you can still see the archive data now. The cool part, like the most brilliant input, was the coder. Wink, wink, hint, hint to the guy in the corner above me here. That the coder who didn't get credit on that project as much as I think he should have, and I tried really hard. He, now she, actually, it's a whole other story, but yeah, TMZ. But their idea was, what if we can actually see the guts of the numbers, and you see the actual code we got that we ripped from the San Andreas Fault. And so I think the most beautiful part isn't what I did. It's not the idea that I had. It was that the code, you can actually see the numbers running, and what it would do is it would dip into the data from the USGS, and whatever the intensity was, it would reorder everything. So we had a collaboration with the actual earthquakes, which made conceptually tons of sense. And even though that was a huge pain in the ass and it turned out okay, the reason for my long Ferris wheel story here is that ever since then, I'm not a very good coder. I basically, it's sad. And I've done a lot of work where if I wish I could have coded, but I get kind of the ideas and I understand the concepts. But people like Damon that can actually code are like this whole other world of creativity, and he crosses over. He's very humble. He probably hasn't told you, but like music and everything else. And so
Yeah, I
we,
guess
we
I should.
both,
Yeah.
yeah, we both have done experimental music and sound art in the past. So we have that in common. So to collaborate with him was a dream because it's been a couple years for me. I've just been pumping out my own stuff, and I thought, here's somebody that has that sort of other side, and he crosses over, and we talk all the time, and I find what he does when we're online really interesting. So it just was a perfect fit for me anyway. There's my answer.
Yeah, so I was tying back into Jeremy's thing. I actually have absolutely no like formal training or degrees and stuff in like the coding things. I taught myself to do that because I was a philosophy major as an undergraduate, and I was pretty aware that I was not going to be able to like make a living philosophizing. I actually have a dual major in philosophy and anthropology. Way to go. Sorry, Mom.
That's painful.
With a minor.
You want fries with that? Sorry.
Exactly. With a minor in Russian, and I don't really speak Russian very well at all at this point. And then I went to grad school. I made an abortive start at a master's degree in interactive multimedia when the dot-com boom turned into the dot-com crash. So I had like 1 year where they paid me to play with all their toys and explain how they worked, and then the next year everybody left, and there was lots of people crying. And I then finished up a master's went to grad school and stuff, went to Brown, did computer music and multimedia, but it was a very kind of fine arts. I mean, it was still computer music, but I spent most of my time hanging out with this computation and visualization laboratory, and then composing pieces for, string ensembles plus computers that made music that no one wants to listen to. But I actually have like an arts and humanities background, and I've done a lot of work in digital humanities and stuff because I'm not just a programmer. I just happen to be able to do that. I actually turned out, it's sort of the reverse. I actually turned out to be good at math, and I didn't really realize that early on. So I'm able to do that sort of stuff. But my interest in doing things is in the humanities and the arts and making weird crap, which gets in the way career-wise. Weird crap. So that goes into that goes all caps, by the way, in the notes. So I'll let you get back to that. But yeah, that's sort of like
rhyme too. That was good.
Yeah.
I like it.